evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Thank you. It is 7:02, and I would like to call the Howell Township meeting to order. Today is July 12th, 2022. We did not have executive session, so what I would like to begin, please, is...
This meeting is being held in accordance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice has been provided by transmitting the notice of this meeting to the Asbury Park Press, the Tri-Town News, and the Star Ledger, by posting it on the bulletin board reserved for such announcements in the Township Municipal Building, and by filing it with the municipal clerk on January 11th, 2022. This agenda is complete to the extent known, and formal action will be taken. And I'll take attendance. Councilman Bonovich is absent this evening. Councilwoman Brennan is absent this evening. Councilman O'Donnell?
Present.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Present.
Mayor Berger?
Present. I'd like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and if we have a moment of silence after for all of our fallen heroes.
Also, just as a reference, included in the moment of silence, please remember Councilwoman Brennan's father, who passed away this morning.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So at this point, I will begin the meeting. May I have an acceptance of the minutes from May 24, 2022?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting for May 24th, 2002.
I'll second that.
22.
2022? Is that what they said?
You were back in 2002.
A roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. The next set of minutes from June 14th, our Deputy Mayor needs to abstain, so how
We'll
would you...
need to carry to the next
Carry to
meeting?
the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. So what we have this evening is we have some reports from the town officials, but before we do that, we have recognition of 2022 Howell Rebels. So, gentlemen, let's get up. Good job. Right there.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks for leading the charge. Oh, it's working? Okay. Coach, would you like to come up, please? So I'd like to welcome our 2022 state champion, Howell Rebels. So this is an exciting moment for me. As you all know, my son Gary plays JV. He's not here today, but he's a big part of this team. A lot of his friends, a lot of the moms and dads here, you guys are very close to my heart. So this means a lot to me to be able to do this with you guys. I know the mayor wanted to bring in Danny Furlong, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that we were going to bring Danny in a while back, and the first thing Danny said, and I had spoke to his mom, was, I couldn't do this without my team, so I'm not doing this without my team. So with that said, they continued to win, and we had to wait and wait and wait to bring them in because they just kept winning, and here they are. So I want to read a proclamation from the mayor and council. That's number one. I also reached out to Senator Singer, Assemblyman Ned Thompson, Assemblyman Sean Kane, and also the commissioners, Director Tom Arnone and all the commissioners. They couldn't be here, but they did drop off the proclamation. So on their behalf, I'm not going to read theirs because ours pretty much covers everything. So Coach had given me a list of accolades, so forgive me because there's a long list here of the boys. Okay. So, as we honor Howell Rebel baseball, whereas the Howell High School Rebels baseball team has had an exceptional 2022 season of triumphs and champions. And whereas the athletes and coaches worked hard as a team to achieve the following outstanding accomplishments: a 25-6 record and the most wins in Howell history, school history. A North champs for the first time since 1990. Central Jersey Group 4 state champs for the first time since 1994. Group 4 state champs for the first time in school history. Ranked number 1 in the Shore Conference. Ranked number 3 in the state. Ranked number 1 public school in New Jersey, and the highest ranks in school history. So whereas the 2022 Howell Rebels baseball team has earned the distinction as the best in school history, and whereas 2022 Howell Rebels baseball team members are known for supporting one another through tough situations and problem solving together. They truly embrace what it means to be a team. When they say tough situations, I've been following these boys, I've come and watched them play. And there's a couple of kids on here, all of you and all of your parents, but a couple of kids that really overcame a broken jaw at one of the games, a broken wrist, they just kept overcoming. Every time something was thrown at these boys, they overcame it and they did it as a team. And I get emotional because I know these boys since they're little Aldrich little kindergartners, most of them anyway. So forgive me for my getting emotional because these boys mean the world to me and so do their families. So, and thank you for always supporting me and the council and Coach. I'm gonna let you say a few words and I'm gonna hand this to you and you can try to say something I haven't said already.
I'd just like to thank Deputy Mayor Richmond, Mayor Berger, and the entire Township Council for giving us this honor. This is really incredible. Deputy Mayor Richmond here listed off a number of accolades, but the number 1 rank in public school, just keep in mind, there's about 600 high schools in New Jersey, and these boys here stand alone as the number 1 team in the entire state. So, yeah. We're very honored to be here. Very honored to get this. This is what growing up in a town is supposed to be about. You grow up with the people that, you play baseball with the people you grew up with, which is getting lost a little bit these days. But these guys brought it back in a big way here in Howell, and we're very proud of them.
This is the proclamation from the State and General Assembly.
Okay.
And then this is the proclamation on behalf of the governing body, us, and then this is the one from the county commissioners.
Okay.
So there's a lot of stuff here. I'm just
Okay.
going to come over
Do
here.
we bring this to the high school,
You
I'm assuming?
bring it wherever you want to bring it. It's like the Stanley Cup, boys. You each take one home for a couple of days.
Don't tell our parents that.
No, Danielle has to give it back. Danielle, you have to give it back. Okay.
We'll start with Aiden Reha. Luke DeVita, who's not here. Jack Gartenstein as well, who is not here. Put those over. Luke Burse.
Congratulations. Well done.
Joe Zito. Braden Walsh. Aiden Bauer. Devin Smith. There you go. Jason Pace. Dylan McKenna. Stephen Jardum, who is also not here because he is participating in the All-Shore football game and had practice today. So, Ryan Balillo. Jeremiah Wojensky. Tedesco. Nick Barricata. Nick Gallo. Danny Furlong. Thomas Strout. And finally, Nick Gomes.
All right, boys, let's take a picture. Team moms, I should say. Danielle's gonna take some pictures. There's only one. I know, there's always one.
Okay.
Everybody good? Danielle's not done.
The light was weird, sorry.
Welcome to light, Danielle.
Ready? One more time at me.
Now you all have to stay.
Thank you to all the parents that take them to every practice, every game, the moms that cook dinner late when we get home. Thank you.
Yes.
I can take those.
Okay. Somebody take Jardim's.
Don't leave anywhere. Can I get a picture?
That was great.
I don't need both, right, Pam? Or do I need?
Well, yeah, they're all different. They're all different. Bye, thank you for coming, guys. Thank you. All right, Daniel.
Yes, 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 here we go.
What? This, I have to tell you, this group of kids, they've been together a long time.
I can tell the mothers and fathers are in there.
Yeah, they're good people. Good people.
Oh, that is nice. Teams are good.
Okay, everybody, we're back. So I would like to reconvene.
Yeah, like glare.
Mr. Clark, do you have anything that you would like to discuss under reports?
Sure, I'll go very quickly. I just wanted to note and commend the police department for the rescue on June 30th of the gentleman who was involved in the trench collapse. Officers Robitello, Donati, and Suleski were the first on the scene. Sergeant Mazzio showed up. He is a specialist, as it happens, in trench rescue, so he quickly assisted, called in Asbury Park and Brick, and the gentleman was pulled out, taken to the hospital, and as far as I know right now is safe and sound again. So here's to the police department.
Excellent.
Amen. They do a
Amen to
great
that.
job. Exactly.
A couple of other quick updates. Howell Day, we have been working with the PBA and Certified Auto. You might know Billy and Mike Stanton. And Howell Day will have a beer tent this year, so that'll be probably located next to some of the food trucks and other things. And we're going to work with Stephen Fetcher on that. So that'll be a nice little change.
September 24th, Mr. Clark?
I think it's the 25th.
Okay. Just want to put on the record.
Yeah, we're going to make sure that it
Okay.
gets announced.
And it's at Oak Line?
Yeah.
Are we doing the movies on the hill this year?
I'll have to talk to Stephen. I don't know if that was sort of like a one-off during COVID or
Right.
if he has plans to do it again this year, so.
Thanks.
Coming up soon, the LED signs that we've had sort of percolating for a while, we're finally reaching out to our contractors. We're getting them installed here at Town Hall and then at Soldier Memorial. We're getting a little bit of a 2-for-1 special, so we're getting a 5% discount on it. And the Board of Ed is helping defray some of the cost of the sign out front. So thank you very much to them, and they should be going in shortly. We closed on the Colel properties last week, so we now own them. That's another 20 acres in our preserved property inventory. There's some old structures and houses on there that we're going to look at. Mr. Howard and I were on site today, so we'll probably add them to our demolition schedule at some point, but we do have that property now. We have been working with our planner and with Mr. Bear on our next round of COA, so we'll have some updates periodically on that. We have some different ideas that we're exploring right now, so we will see what we can do to prepare for 2025. It's coming up pretty quick. Our IT department, every few years, every 5-10 years or so, we're entitled to a refresh of our website, so we are working with Civic Plus right now to make it a little bit more informational, a little bit more user-friendly, so hopefully we'll have that launched in September or October. I'm having a meeting with them tomorrow to kind of discuss the nuts and bolts of everything.
Can council see it before you launch it, like the design of it? I mean.
Yeah, I
take
mean,
some
there's,
different pictures around the town that we
well,
can
that's
maybe
sort
put
of
up?
exactly the mindset is.
Okay.
It's, ours is, it's nice, but it's a little bit dated, so some of the things that highlight the better parts of Howell, some of the parks, some of the,
Right.
that, so yeah, definitely.
Perfect.
But we're just in the very initial stages right now. And finally, on a fun note, we're going to have a holiday lighting contest this year. We'll be working with Stephen Fetcher. We'll have more announcements coming up, definitely during the winter holidays, so Christmas, Hanukkah, and we are also looking at possibly looping in fall-type stuff, Halloween, fall decorations, things like that. So more information coming on that.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Okay. Matt, do you have?
Yeah, you'll be hearing from me more with the ordinances, so other than that, I have no updates.
Okay. Any other updates? No? All right, I'm going to open now to the hearing of citizens.
Mayor,
Uh,
if you don't mind, I'd like to say.
We're going to do that at the end.
Oh,
like
we're gonna do it at the end?
That's what we,
Okay, I wasn't at last meeting, so I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Decided on that. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I'd like change. Change is good. Okay.
that way we get through the agenda.
I get it, okay.
So I would like to open up at this point on the consent agenda items only, not the ordinances, the consent agenda item.
So,
Which are-
Mayor, if I can, we can open it on the consent agenda items and as well as general comments from the public,
But not the ordinances.
but the ordinances will each have their own separate hearing prior to adoption. So this will be for consent agenda items and general topics.
Thank you for that. Is-
John's name on it, but I don't think he wants to come up anymore, just so you know, he may not come up.
Yeah, Mr. Clark, by any chance, is there an extra microphone maybe? Could Barbara stand over there and not have to come all the way up here?
That's all right, I have my truck, I can lean on my truck.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I can lean on my truck. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
You okay?
That's why I don't know. That's why
I asked if she wanted. Okay. What, is she coming up?
Eventually, I guess. Barbara, we're waiting for you.
Oh, I don't know who you call,
Oh, you were the first one on the list.
I don't know, you have to officially, you're waiting for the mayor's official call.
She did.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Barbara Dixell of Villages.
Good evening.
I know Jerry spoke about this, but I would like to ask the question. R 22-237, can you give me as full, a complete, informational, whatever, discussion and information on this resolution? And how it's gonna work? Who's gonna give out this money to veterans? Is it gonna be done by Howell Township? Is it gonna be done by the state? Who is gonna designate the veterans from Howell? I need to know all this.
Mr. Clark?
So the resolution supports a measure in the Assembly right now. It hasn't passed, but the Assembly has introduced something to increase the amount of the veterans exemption. It hasn't passed yet, so it hasn't increased. So this supports their efforts to do that. We think the veterans should be entitled to that, but it hasn't passed. So when or if it does, we'll have more information. This is just by the council supporting the efforts of the Assembly to increase that.
Which is very commendable, and I'm very happy to hear that. Now, the veterans' benefit from Howell Township is $250 a year off the property tax. Is that part of this?
Yes, it'll be increased.
In other words,
The veterans exemption, the Assembly is looking to increase it to $1,000 a year.
it will come off from Howell Township on the property tax.
Correct.
All right, because it won't come from the state. It'll come out here,
It'll be a property tax exemption, correct.
done here. Okay, that's very nice. Thank you. Listen, the veterans worked hard for their country. They've served their country, and they absolutely more than deserve it.
Amen to that.
Amen to that. Listen, my husband was recalled to active duty for the Bay of Pigs Berlin crisis after serving his country, and he served his country again. So he's got 2 honorable DD 214s, and I think he's more than entitled to get as much respect from
Absolutely.
everybody as possible.
Barbara,
absolutely
I
correct.
had asked him before, and I'm just saying, I think he's a little bit too modest about putting him on the
He
screen.
doesn't,
We may just do it anyway, Jerry.
but I don't know. I just wanted to know the meat of it. I just wanted to know more, the understanding of it.
Well, that's the background, so hopefully it passes, and that we'll be able to afford our
Yeah.
Our
Now,
veterans
that's
into
very
Howell.
nice. That's very commendable, very nice. Nice of the state, and I understand they're going to, the property tax freeze checks, I understand from the state are supposed to be going out this week, which is also very nice.
Very nice.
And the state is also talking about giving money to people, I guess, people who earn less than a certain amount will get a certain amount, so that's also very good. It's nice that the state of New Jersey is finally stepping up to the plate and doing their job. Very good. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
Jerry, I have your name listed on this list. Did you want to come up?
No, everything was taken care of.
Okay. I have Ron Springer. Say it again.
Maybe they've got something else.
Good evening, Mayor,
Good evening,
members of
sir.
the council. My name is Ron Springer. I own Bear Creek Arbory with my wife Susan. And we stood before you, I think, several months ago, and we're just kind of concerned about the status of our farm surviving. And I guess currently, Matt Howard has presented an opportunity for some small farms to be able to do events. And I think it's in the early stages at this point, but I just wanted to let you know that we're still here. And I was thinking back to when I was a little kid. I used to go to my grandparents' house in Rollway every Sunday, and if I spilled my milk, somebody would call, go get a dish rag and a towel and wipe it up. And that happened. Fast forward to today, I don't think anybody has a dish rag anymore or a towel. You do? Oh, good for you. But I've got a thing of Bounty in the back of my trunk that I can't even see the car behind me after I get out of Costco. And back then, you would go to the grocery store for food, and you go to the hardware store for nails and hammers. But today, you go to a grocery store, the A&P doesn't exist anymore, but you go to a grocery store, there's a garden center in front of every supermarket. Costco has plants everywhere. And we're a 15-acre farm, and we've been working really hard in Howell for 20 years to try to make this work. I'm going to be 73 this summer.
God bless.
And I can't quite get as much work done as I used to, but I still love the land. I love being in this township. And I am so hopeful that you guys can really hear our case and maybe provide a pathway for us to be able to do events. I read an article the other day that said between 2010 and 2017 that Howell lost 162 farms. And I look at this Little League team, and I hear the coach say things aren't the way they used to be. But I can't visualize what Howell would look like in 20 years if we don't find a way to help the small farmers keep these farms alive. So I'm really just curious how this petition is moving forward right now. And I guess it's up to you guys to make a decision, and then it has to go to the planning board. And I'm not sure exactly how the procedures work. I don't know, Matt, if you could tell me if there's been any progress going forward, like in terms
Sure.
of timing.
I could give some updates. So you gave me a little bit too much credit in the beginning. A lot of people have been working on it. Planning board is really the one that generates the master plan report. So the recommendations came from the planning board.
Well, you're the
the
only guy I
subcommittee.
know.
I know. I appreciate it, though.
Yeah.
So, as you know, we do have a recommendation in the master plan to look into farm wedding events, allowing them to kind of do that activity where it's not normally permitted, it's not covered under right to farm through the county. Getting it as a recommendation in the master plan is one thing. The next couple steps are a little bit harder, and that's what we're finding out. So we're looking into the ordinance, and we're running up against a few issues. We're running up against other surrounding area, people that surround farms are coming to us with a lot of concerns with noise, what type of buffering they're going to have, how we can enforce parts of the ordinance, and they're very real concerns. So we're trying to work through those. We also have to start working with a state agency like the ABC, figure out how the alcohol distribution on a site is going to work and consumption. We also are working with Monmouth County Board of Health. This isn't like a standalone banquet facility that's doing all the cooking on site. Usually this is going to be food trucks, another ordinance that we're in conflict with, also caterers and how they're getting that testing. We have to work with Monmouth County Board of Health to make sure that those events are safe for everybody. Just recently, we have a farm that did a wedding that had fireworks, and that got the neighborhood quite up in arms because at 10:30 at night, it's quite a show, and we have to work on controlling that type of activity without limiting, maybe the 4th of July, but not having that go off every Saturday night or Friday and Saturday night, in these areas. We're also looking at our short-term rental ordinance that we passed last year, which has been wildly successful in limiting the big parties that we were having in parts of towns and the issues those were creating. But technically, some of the wording and the renting out of a facility, we're kind of up against a little bit of a conflict there, too. So we are looking at all these things. Right now, we need some more time to kind of close the loops on them all. When we do an ordinance, it's going to have to apply to not just your site, obviously the whole town. There's a lot of different types of sites that are trying to do these events. And like I said, we're running up on a lot of conflicts, so we're trying to resolve all those.
Yes, we're kind of aware of the fact that Patterson's just recently got a variance to do the
Correct.
events.
And you always have the right to go and seek that variance.
Yeah, so I guess that's, for us, it's a question of expense, because after COVID, our farm, we just had no business for an entire year. And
So, and just to be clear, and I've said that at this meeting and in our personal meetings, under no circumstances the event's going to be able to occur without at least a site plan approval.
Right, I
If
understand,
getting
yeah.
put in as a permitted use is one thing, but the site plan approval and the development of the site, looking at the traffic, looking at the noise, looking at the buffering, all that still has to be done. So I recommended it last time. If you haven't started those plans, you desperately need to, because if an ordinance comes into place in a month or two or a year, it's still, that site plan approval is several months out.
Is there
from
any
being able to
sense
do
of
anything.
of where the pulse is on timing? Or, because, again, for us to try to get that much money together is going to be very difficult.
I understand, it's hard to say on timing at this point.
Yeah. 2 years, 1 year, 1 month, you can't say.
I don't think it's in the years, but I can't tell you it's going to be next week or next month either.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to make you aware that we're still here, and we're really hoping that you can support us in some way. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We hope you're always here.
Yeah,
The
thank you.
facility's lovely.
Thanks so much.
I just wanted to give the update on our petition and some comments for the mayor and council.
That was one thing I did forget to say. We have a little petition online, and over 3,600 people, local people, have actually signed this petition and support what we're doing, and I think we're an asset to the community.
Absolutely.
That's excellent.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there's no one else on the list. Is there anybody that wants to come up to talk about the consent agenda items or any general discussion? Seeing none, I would like to go to resolutions. May I have a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve R22-2302 and including R22-246.
I'll second.
If I may, it's through, consent agenda is through
245.
R22-245.
I'm sorry. Let me amend that to 245, my apologies.
Thank you. Okay, roll call. Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution R22-246, resolution appointing Diane Festino as municipal clerk effective July 12, 2022.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to, for Resolution R22-246. I apologize, I have the wrong glasses and I can't see anything, so
May I have a second?
apologize.
I'll second and welcome her along.
Welcome,
assuming-
Diane. Looking forward to.
Roll call. Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Resolution R22-247, resolution appointing members to the Howell Alliance.
I'd like to make a motion to approve 2 members, Christy Mangano and Karen Freiberg.
I'll
to-
second.
I'm sorry, to the Howell Alliance.
I'll second.
A roll call. Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Resolution R22-248, resolution appointing zoning board member.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint, sorry, I have the name here, Michael Rubel, I'm sorry, Michael, if I'm butchering your name, to the zoning board, and I would like to thank Matt Gonzalez. He had resigned, I guess, last month from the zoning board. He was on the zoning board and a couple of other boards. Thank you, Matt, for your service, and I'm looking forward to meeting Michael. So, yes, I make
I
a
will
motion.
second that motion, emphatically restating everything that Deputy Mayor has spoken of.
Roll call. Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. At this time, we are going into the ordinances. I would like to let everybody know that we are pulling Ordinance 22-42. Mr. Clark, does that have to be voted on to pull it?
Yeah, you can make a motion to
motion.
pull it and adjourn it to the next meeting.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to pull ordinance 0-22-42 for the next meeting, or wherever we can fit that in.
I'll second until the next meeting.
Roll call. Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Did you give us an explanation as to why you're pulling it?
We don't have a full council, and we want to have a discussion, I guess? Is that?
We don't have a full council, and for the ordinance to pass, it needs 3 votes.
You need a super vote?
No, it needs 3 of 5.
So obviously, Mrs. Dixell, there's one person that's already said they would choose not to vote in favor of that ordinance.
I'm just asking you.
I chose. I'm okay with saying I chose to vote no on that ordinance.
I'm just curious as to why you're pulling it, and that, thank you.
Okay, so that's full. There you go.
So may I go?
All right.
So ordinance 22-23, an ordinance of the Township of Howell supplementing Chapter 188, Article 10 zones, supplementing Section 188-78 entitled Highway Development 2 or HD2 to include automobile auctions, automobile sales, new and used, automobile service
Oh,
stations.
excuse me, Mayor, I'm so sorry to interrupt. The first one is ordinance 22-31.
She sent an update.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I scrolled down by accident. So let me go over that again. So it's 22-31, which is an ordinance of the Township of the Council amending the Township of Howell Code of Ordinances to repeal Chapter 154, Flood Damage Prevention, to adopt a new Chapter 154, Flood Damage Prevention, to adopt flood hazard maps, to designate a flood plain administrator, and providing for severability and effective date. Really, Joe? Did you have to use all those words?
Chose not to blame.
I did not do this.
Are you the one to
A
blame?
little bit, but really the state of New Jersey.
But it's like I'm tripping over my tongue.
Oh, no. All right.
So I would open this for public comment.
Mayor, I can't get up. Can somebody explain this besides what's written?
Sure.
Yes.
I can. So the state of New Jersey, New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection and FEMA have come out with a new model ordinance. This is an ordinance that has to be adopted by every township within the municipality, otherwise they risk losing their flood insurance protection. This is the model ordinance that the DEP provided. They provided 2 types, coastal areas and river or fluvial areas. This is generally the same ordinance. It does go into a few more specifics, like adopting the floodplain administrator. That's going to be our construction official who has experience in that matter in the past. But we're ultimately following the state rules. Good news about Howell, most of our floodplains are associated with our rivers. Our rivers are, a lot of them, Category 1 streams. Category 1 streams carry a 300-foot riparian buffer on either side. The floodplains are really limited to the area closer in the stream. So a lot of our development can't even get close enough to the streams to be within the floodplain. It does not come up very often. If it does come up, our board professionals are going to be briefed on the ordinance. They'll get a copy, and they'll address it with during site plan approval.
All right, Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
And I guess, Mr. Clark, how is this going to affect the Manasquan River and the Manasquan Reservoir? They are not C1. They are not C1. The state will not give the Manasquan River a C1. Why, I don't know, but they won't.
So Category 1, just to be clear, is surface water quality standards, doesn't have any bearing on the floodplain. So their FEMA maps the floodplains around their streams. Any development in that floodplain or floodway will be regulated by this ordinance. If it's out of the floodway and the floodplain, then it follows other wetlands still are in play, riparian buffers are still in play, and if it's out of all of those areas, it's unregulated and development can occur.
So, because, as you know, the reservoir in Howell is big, and Howell is unique. Howell Township is in 2 waterways. We are the Manasquan River, Manasquan Reservoir, the Manasquan River, and the Metedeconk River. South is Manasquan, north is Manasquan, south is Metedeconk. So I know they're C1, but I just want to make sure that on our end, in the Manasquan, that we're covered.
Absolutely.
Because you got a lot of residents, a lot of everything that can have a bad flood and suffer consequences.
And any development in those areas the applicants will be going directly to FEMA, directly to NJDEP to get permits before being able to build anything.
Or come to Howell Township to get some kind of help, maybe.
Well, the review that the township's doing is on the building permit side. So when the development comes in, if it's in one of these regulated areas, they have to go to the state and the federal government to get their permits, and then the township can issue building permits.
Excuse me, I just found a set of keys on the floor in the back.
I guess you could leave it up here with Allison, and if someone could be. So at this point, then I will close this section. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 22-31?
I'll make a motion to adopt 02231.
I will second.
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Ordinance 22-33. So it goes, there's no 32, am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. An ordinance of the Township of Howell supplementing Chapter 188, Article 10 zones, supplementing Section 188-78 entitled Highway Development 2, or HD2, to include automobile auctions, automobile sales, new and used, automobile service stations, and automobile repair/auto body uses as conditional uses. Would anybody like to come up to talk about the ordinance? I did. Barbara, why don't you just stay there if you're going to come up again?
So why don't I just move in? Okay, thank you. Okay. Autos, okay. Let me start by saying the present ordinance for service stations have to be 2,500 feet away from each other on the same side of the street. You got Exxon down there, and you got this closed gas station, they're 750 feet. How is all of this going to play out, and where are these sales and all kinds of things going to take place and how?
So this ordinance is changing the HD2 zone, Highway Development 2. This isn't Route 9, this isn't any area there. Actually, with the zoning changes we've made, at the moment, if all ordinances pass tonight, there will be no HD2 zoned areas. This was primarily an area off of Route 33. We kept the zoning in the master plan, and we plan on potentially having some areas zoned this way, but these uses are more consistent with what we're looking for on Route 33.
So 33 has a lot of businesses and car repair and all that stuff. That takes care of them down there. Because I just want to make sure what's going to happen up here, you know, with this 2,500 feet away from each other on the same side of the street. Exxon and the closed gas station, that's contaminated, and still on the active contamination list, because well number 2 is highly contaminated. So, again, that doesn't concern anything over here.
Where is that?
Okay, in
Route
front of the
9.
villages, and
Route
next to Woolies, the closed,
Oh, yeah.
Guild
yeah.
Petroleum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The Alico station.
This
Guild
or-
Petroleum.
Yeah, this ordinance has nothing to do with that. That's the HD1
Yeah.
zone. So we're not changing that at all.
All right, because that ever came up, I need to be involved in that one, because that's still on the active contaminated list, and, you know, we can't let anything happen. Okay, thanks, guys.
Okay. May I have a motion to pass ordinance 22-33?
I'll make a motion to approve 0-22-33.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Ordinance 22-34, an ordinance of the Township of Howell supplementing Chapter 188, Article 10 zones, adding new Section 188-86.5 entitled Military MIL Zone and rezoning certain parcels from ARE 6 to MIL. Does anybody want to talk about this ordinance? Yes, ma'am.
Please explain where, is this going to be a segregated section of Howell Township that will be designated for military families only? How is this going to be?
This is rezoning 2 parcels. They're extremely large parcels, and they're currently occupied by Naval Weapons Station Earl. So this is
So
making,
this is over by Asbury Avenue?
and Route 34,
over,
going right through.
33.
Yes. So it makes military uses, accessory uses permitted in the zone. I mean, the federal government carries a bigger stick. They don't really care about our zoning, but this is more in line with what's the operations going on site, and will assist us as we work with Earl more in terms of surrounding land uses.
Because Earl is fenced off completely from one
Correct.
end to the other. There's no construction on Earl, right?
Not that we know of, and they don't have to come to us if there
Yeah,
is.
there's houses.
All right, so, because Asbury Avenue, Asbury Road, comes off 33 up Asbury Road and goes, and Earl is right there.
Correct. That ends at Earl.
All right, so anything to do with Asbury Road coming off 33 up through where the fence is on Earl?
None of this zoning overlies our existing residential areas. This is strictly just pretty much the fence line of the base,
The
yes.
fence line of the base?
Correct.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
May I have a motion? Is there anybody else that would like to? May I have a motion to approve?
Can I just ask a question quickly?
Yeah.
Will this, Mr. Clark, will this in any way assist us in the acreage that is used in the compilation of moderate income, COA homes? Or is this just I mean, I understand why we're doing this, but will this in any way enable us to use that to help carve out
Sure,
property?
so, this ordinance alone, it applies to Earl, but the short answer is yes. We're looking into it, and a lot of it is based on the joint land use study that Earl is conducting with the county, so,
Excellent.
yeah. Some of these ordinances are driven a little bit in part by that. And not to give away too much of our strategy for the next round, we do intend to utilize the JLUS study as much as possible to help us with our next round sort of obligations.
Good news. I would make a motion to approve 0-22-34.
I'll second.
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Ordinance 22-35, an ordinance of the Township of Howell changing the zoning of certain properties within the Township of Howell to zoning designation agricultural rural estate 1, or ARE1. I'm going to make you say this like 5 times fast.
I had to do that on the phone, and I always stumble on that one, too.
Does anybody like to talk about ordinance 22-35?
What is it? Explain it.
This is rezoning several pieces of property, generally in the vicinity of Asbury Road and
Same area.
Route 33. It's close to Earl. It's not adjacent to Earl or anything like that. Same area. Tyson Road is an unimproved street that runs through there. Right now, they're zoned HD3. It doesn't make much sense because they actually don't have highway frontage. There are farms in this piece, and by putting them as ARE1, the lot size is 1 acre. It's consistent with the size of the properties there, the use is there, and it makes them conforming.
Is that on the same side, or Speedy's house used to be across 30?
I do not know who Speedy is, I'm sorry.
No, it is not.
It's not?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So it goes up 33. But these people won't be on top of, very close to Earl, right? I mean, there is a distance between,
This is on the south side of 33. You would have to cross 33 and then go up Route 34 till you're in Earl. It's not adjacent to Earl in any way. And there's existing houses and farms here, so this is making those uses conforming, whereas in the HD3, they're technically non-conforming.
all right, okay. Okay, thank you.
May I have a motion?
Motion to approve 0-22-35.
Second?
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Ordinance 22-36, ordinance of the Township of Howell changing the zoning of certain properties within the Township of Howell to zoning designation recreational-residential community, or RRC. Would anybody like to talk about ordinance 22-36?
Mayor Barbara Dixell, the Villages, what kind of recreational facilities would be included in the residential area?
So this is the zoning that currently Eagle Oaks occupies. The zoning is
Okay.
associated with it, so it covers their clubhouse, it covers the golf course, a bunch of different uses. There's 3 parcels that were previously zoned HD3. Again, no highway frontage, we're in the same area that the previous ordinance was. It just made sense to,
Asbury Avenue down.
Tinton Falls Road, Asbury Road, right, yes, in that same area.
That's past St. Catherine's, that's down that way.
Correct, right next to Eagle Oaks.
Okay. Because there's a condo association down over there also with Eagle Oaks.
Townhome project
Yeah,
going? Yeah,
townhome.
they're under construction, correct.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
May I have a motion for 22-36?
Motion to approve 0-22-36.
Second?
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Ordinance 22-37, ordinance of the Township of Howell changing the zoning of certain properties within the Township of Howell to zoning designation residential 50 or R50. Is there anyone who would like?
Yeah, again, just please explain.
Sure. So this is on Tinton Falls Road, same exact area that we've been in the previous ordinances. There's a lot of small lot residential on Tinton Falls Road, Ruckel Avenue, in that area. They're a few thousand square foot lots, they're relatively small houses, and they're zoned SCD. That doesn't make sense, so we're giving them the same zoning Freewood Acres has, makes a lot of the lots conforming, makes the use conforming.
Tinton Falls, that's down.
Right by JB's Diner, just down the road from JB's Diner.
JB's Diner is on 30.
3 and 34, right at the
33 and
crazy intersection, just down Tinton Falls Road from there. Those small houses that you see when you're driving down Tinton Falls Road.
And what kind of recreation would be there?
This isn't the RRC zone, this is R50, so it's single-family residential zoning, small lot.
R50, that would be seniors or R50, or that would be?
No,
okay.
it's
Thank you.
5,000 square foot lot size,
Okay.
same as Freewood Acres.
Mayor and council, the reason why I'm asking all these questions is because these ordinances are wonderful, but in view of the fact that there's no explicit explanation, I would just like to get it on the record for the citizens of Howell.
I have no problem with you asking the questions.
And I have no problem being here to answer them, that's why I'm here.
Well, thank you all very much. I specifically would like the citizens of Howell Township to know, since there's a whole bunch of zoning and rezoning, I would like the citizens of Howell to know exactly.
You're actually quite impressive, because you sit here and ask the right questions, so it's really, it's nice to have somebody come up and just want information, and ask questions
Well,
about what's on the
It's
agenda.
important, Mayor, because it's important to Howell, it's important to the development of Howell, and the way Howell operates, and the way how its citizens live, and as we all know, we get our quality of life from the master plan. That's the way we live, and the quality of life we live is by the master plan. So, again, after 30 years here,
You have it memorized.
kind of get used to this stuff. But again, I specifically would like the citizens of Howell to have as full an explanation as possible, and I thank you all very much for that. Just bear with me.
No, I absolutely respect it.
Although,
Thank you.
on the agenda, when you notice online, there's always a link that's underlined. You can always hit that link and have more information, although all questions are we're happy to receive them for more edification, but I wouldn't want anyone to think that the information is not available. It is.
I'm sure it is,
And a
but-
phone call to administration is always welcomed, but
I understand it, and I agree
just wanted to
with
make the
you.
notation, that's all.
And with
22.
my macular degeneration and my big mouth, I have to come up here and ask.
Understood.
And my 82 years is going to be 83.
Oh, God bless. Did we vote on this ordinance? We did not.
No.
Still on 37?
22-37.
I'll make a motion to approve 0-22-37.
Second?
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Ordinance 22-38, ordinance of the Township of Howell changing the zoning of certain property within the Township of Howell to zoning designation Highway Development 3 or HD3. Mr.
I'll
Howell?
save the middleman here. So this is a property on Route 33. It's a single lot that we're rezoning. It's a common sense zoning change. The rest of this area of Route 33, any lot with highway frontage is HD3. This one is kind of cornered into an SCD zone. It's a small lot. It doesn't comply with the SCD zone. The current use on it is non-conforming. We just think it's a common sense change. And this is at that crazy intersection 3334. It's at Falls Road. It's one lot right on the corner, southwest corner.
There's a lot of businesses down there, there's a lot of auto stuff down there, a lot of auto wreck places down there. I mean, is 33 and 34 going to become congested with all these changes?
We're not looking to make it any more congested, no, of course not. What we're looking to do is put adequate zoning there. So it is a economic corridor for the town. It's one that has, it's relatively underdeveloped. We think that we can develop it further. We were trying to do that smart. We're trying to put the right uses in the right places so that we can work with the state on certain intersections that are problems and get good economic uses for the town and for the citizens.
Thank you. Thank you.
May I have a motion?
Motion to approve 0-22-38.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Motion 22-39, ordinance of the Township of Howell changing the zoning of certain property within the Township of Howell to zoning designation residential 3 or R3. Mr. Howard?
That was a quick read, sorry. So this is an area off of Squonkam Road, south of Farmingdale. So if you're driving north towards Farmingdale, it's Matthews Road and Squonkam Road. The rezoning, it's another common sense one. We're in that part of the list here where these are actually some of the changes that were proposed in 2019. We never kind of got around to them, brought them back into this master plan as a recommendation because they still make sense. So these are small lot residential. They were currently zoned ARE3, 3 acre minimum. Even if you combine a bunch of these lots, you can't hit that 3 acres. There's existing housing there, all on undersized lots, all with inadequate setbacks, actually making the change to R3. 15,000 square foot lot size gives these people a chance to develop, further develop, and be within conformance of the ordinance.
Will any of these homeowners, to conform with the ordinance, be forced to have a hardship or change their property or sell or whatever?
We'll never force them to sell or change anything. If they want to come in for development, they'll have to meet the new standards.
They have to meet the new standards no matter what?
Correct. But these new standards, the setbacks are all less, there's no impervious or building coverage on them, and the lot size is smaller. The standards have gotten easier to comply with than what they are now.
Is this Squonkam, is this near Equestria, or where Elon used to be, or
No,
was,
so
or
this is Squonkam Road between Birdsall Road and Belmar Boulevard.
Okay, thank you.
May I have a motion?
Motion to approve 0-22-41.
39.
I'm sorry, 39. My apologies.
Second.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Ordinance 22-40, ordinance of the Township of Howell changing the zoning of certain properties within the Township of Howell to zoning designation neighborhood commercial or NC. Mr. Howard?
So same area, Squonkam Road, right before you get into Farmingdale. It's at the southwestern of the intersection with Belmar Boulevard. A couple commercial properties there already. Some of those commercial uses are actually into the residential zone at the current time. We're expanding the neighborhood commercial zoning. Neighborhood commercial really doesn't have a lot of uses. It's not our highway development type commercial zone, so there's far fewer uses permitted in that zone. It's seeking to remove some nonconformities in the area, kind of get better use out of that corner of the intersection, which already has the commercial uses.
Are any of these in the areas where we've had complaints about speed limits?
Squonkam Road,
Yeah.
Belmar Boulevard, I mean, Farmingdale Borough, yeah, you have a lot of people going more than 25 through Farmingdale. This is where it cuts down in speed. Belmar Boulevard, that intersection, we used to have a site triangle issue. The owners worked with us, we rectified that, so that's been better. We know the sidewalks kind of need some love in that area, but other than that, I haven't heard anything specific.
Okay. Because this is all happening in that area, and so it's, I just worry about that. Anyone else?
Just on that last point, having this zoning come into more conformance, if we bring in a business, they have to come for site plan, they have to make all those improvements. So with the township, gets a crack at the apple, bite at the apple, sorry, to get an opportunity to get those improvements.
Thank you. May I have a motion for 22-40?
I'll make a motion to move ordinance 0-22-40.
Second?
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Ordinance 22-41, ordinance of the Township of Howell, amending Chapter 188, Article 10 zones, Section 75, Neighborhood Commercial Zone of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Howell. Mr. Howard?
So this is exactly the zone we're just talking about, neighborhood commercial. We're expanding it for a couple different uses, craft distillery and what's ultimately gyms. It's the health club, facilities and fitness center use. There's only a few areas in town zoned this way. The neighborhood commercial zone is very restrictive. In 2017, we added microbreweries and commercial schools. Back then, we were finding that a couple of the shopping centers that were in this zone, they couldn't get tenants because even standard stuff like a karate studio couldn't go because of our zoning. So we've looked at it. We tweaked it a little bit in 2017. We think these two uses will hopefully get more flexibility for property owners and bring some uses that would be good for the town.
Is there anybody else? May I have a motion for 0-22-41?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to move ordinance 0-22-41.
Second?
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Ordinance 0-22-43, an ordinance amending Article 10, Section 188-84.4, Moderate and Low-Income Housing Zone 14, or ML14, subsection C9, entitled Additional Requirements and Exceptions from Other Requirements of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell.
So we promised this ordinance last meeting.
Can you make that English for me?
Sure. So, yeah, we had to fit it into a section that had long titles, so that's why it's so long. Last meeting, we had adopted the ordinance to modify the zoning around one of our affordable housing sites, ML14, off of Turpac Road. Those changes were to include some lots along West Farms Road. It changed the ingress and egress. And what this ordinance does is prohibits vehicular access to the development from Turpac Road and Stewart Street. So that's what the previous versions had shown. The developer had told us that by making these changes, that access can come from Casino and West Farms, made it a much better project and product, and we wanted to codify that and make sure that there was absolutely no way, other than seeking a variance, that access could be granted from those side streets, and that's what this ordinance does.
May I have a motion for ordinance 22-43?
Motion to move 0-22-43.
Second?
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. I have introduction of ordinances. Ordinance 22-44, an ordinance setting forth and amending and supplementing the salary range schedule for the salaries of certain officers and employees of the Township of Howell. Could you please explain who is involved in, Mr. Clark, in this?
This is for our EMS coordinator. She's part of the Teamsters Union, and her salary was subject to that, and so this sort of trues it up to the level where it should be.
Thank you. May I have a motion to introduce 0-22-44?
I'll make a motion to introduce 0-22-44.
I'll second.
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Introduction of ordinance 0-22-45, an ordinance setting forth and amending and supplementing the salary range schedule for the salaries of certain, I just read that. 45?
If I may, this one is for the salary of the township clerk.
Yeah. Different position.
Sorry, I read that and then it was the same title, almost.
Yeah.
The salary range schedule for the salaries of certain officers and employees of the Township of Howell.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to move ordinance, introduce ordinance 0-22-45.
Second?
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Ordinance 22-46, an ordinance amending Chapter 188 Land Use, Article 4, Standards of Performance, subsection 19, entitled Air, Water, and Environmental Considerations of General Applicability of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell.
You have to read that one again next time, by the way.
Mr. Howard? Just,
Oh,
if you
just on
could
the title?
just, one sentence of what it is, and we
Just
could-
what number are we on? I'm sorry.
46.
46. We're changing the setbacks for generators. There was a kind of an odd setback in the ordinance put in place a few years ago. Generators have become prolific in popularity, so we're seeing more and more of them. We're seeing where there are conflicts and where there aren't. By the way, there aren't conflicts. So we're loosening up the setbacks a little bit, giving some flexibility. Actually, when there's more room than not, we're giving some flexibility to those property owners.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance 0-22-46.
Second?
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Introduction of ordinance 22-47, an ordinance amending Chapter 188 Land Use, Article 10 Zones, subsection 65, entitled Enumeration of Districts of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell.
This is as easy as it gets, I promise. There's an ordinance section that lists all the different zones. We added 2 new zones, so we're just updating the list.
Excellent. Thank you very much. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance 0-22-47.
Second?
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Introduction of ordinance 22-48, introduction of the Township of Howell, supplementing Chapter 188, Article 10 zones, supplementing and modifying Section 188-79.1, entitled Special Economic Develop 1, SED1 Zone.
We left out a couple uses when we created the SED1 zone. We rezoned a bunch of areas last meeting. Left out a couple uses. They're trade contractor businesses, landscape businesses. Both of them are conditional uses. Same conditions that were adopted last meeting, just putting it into the SED1 zone.
And they can be wherever they
Well,
want.
we
Wherever
really,
the SED1 zone
there's no
is.
discussion on it, Barbara, really.
All right.
I'm just offering a little bit of an explanation.
Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance 0-22-48.
Second?
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Ordinance 22-49, an ordinance of the Township of Howell changing the zoning of Block 230, Lot 2 within the Township of Howell to zoning designation Special Economic Development 2, or SED2.
The tax record had a second lot listed as an additional lot. It means the owner owns 2 parcels, they're separate parcels, they get 1 tax bill. When we did the search for all the block and lots in the zone, we missed one, putting it in the zone. Always was part of the plan for the master plan.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to introduce 0-22-49.
I'll second.
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Introduction of ordinance 0-22-50, an ordinance amending Chapter 188 Land Use, Article 12, Standards and Procedures for Site Plan Review, Section 107, subsection C, entitled Minimum Parking Requirements of General Applicability of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell.
Over the last few years, we've created new zones. This is our parking standard, so when you go to the site plan and you're a retail, how many parking spaces do I need per square footage? This is that list that gives you all those standards. The previous ordinance has a lot of uses that aren't even permitted in town. It kind of just muddies up the works. We've added a couple new uses recently, so we're giving those parking standards. So we're matching up the use table with the parking standards table.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
A motion to introduce 0-22-48.
50.
I'm sorry, wrong page. 50.
I'll second that on 50.
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Introduction of ordinance 22-51, an ordinance amending Chapter 188 Land Use, Attachment 1, Schedule 1, entitled Permitted Uses, Non-Residential Zones of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell.
Another easy one. We have a cheat sheet, a schedule or a table where you can look up the use and look up the zone, and it tells you if it's a permitted use, a conditional use, or not a use permitted. With all these new changes, we updated the table. It's part of the ordinance. We're putting it in the ordinance book.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance 0-22-51.
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Introduction of ordinance 0-22-52. Ordinance of the Township of Howell amending certain sections of the Township Code, including Chapter 139, Article 14, Section 26, hazardous spills reimbursement rates, Chapter 168, Article 1, Section 3, definitions, Chapter 168, Article 1, Section 9, changes in the storage, use, or handling to be reported, and Chapter 168, Article 1, Section 14, notification of business closure of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Howell.
This one wasn't me.
This one was me. Sorry, Mayor. So,
That was a big one, seriously.
yeah, well, what we did was there were certain small provisions of the code that we changed. So instead of passing 6 different ordinances, modifying a title, we included them all in one ordinance. So one long read instead of 6 individual ones. But right here, we worked with the township's OEM director to update certain hazardous spills fees that's reflective of current rates.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to introduce 0-22-52.
I'll second.
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Introduction of ordinance 22-53, an ordinance of Howell Township authorizing the acceptance by the township of a donation of certain real property designated as tax block 35.82, lot 41.03.
So this one was me as well. The township is receiving a land donation that's, I believe, .63 acres, right next to the auto zone. The property owner is graciously donating some of that portion of the property to the township. The township is currently conducting their due diligence into the area to make sure there's no environmental hazards. So as soon as we get that report back saying there's no underground storage tanks or issues with the property, we're going to go ahead and accept that donation.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to introduce 0-22-53.
I'll second.
Roll call, Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Agenda.
At this point, I would like to open up for us to have a little bit of a discussion. We received the efficiency study. Are we going to talk about that?
I just spoke with the efficiency experts last week. They're finalizing it. They had some additional questions for the police department.
Okay.
So we should be getting another draft shortly.
Okay. Also, we did have I guess that's I can't ask that out here, but I wanted to talk about, there was some litigation that we had, but I think it's an employee issue, so I can't.
Yeah, let's hold that for an
Yeah,
executive
yeah.
session.
And there was one thing I wanted to mention. That PD is having a car wash on July 17th on Kent Road. So if anybody is interested out there, let's get out there and get our cars done by PD. Ladies, Councilwoman?
Well, firstly, I want to thank administration. We had talked about this holiday late contest, so I'm really happy to see that we'll be able to implement it this year. I think it's important that community can come together on another issue that brings a lot of joy to people, so.
Can I comment on that? I agree with you. You sparked a thought. You mentioned Christmas, Hanukkah, and Halloween?
Sure, so we may do 2 of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not going to be like a whole.
Well, that's what I was just.
Yeah. Right now, we're definitely going to do sort of the winter event, and then depending on how much runway we have in front of us to plan, we may do fall/Halloween.
Okay. Thank you for that. Please.
Also, as well, the LED signs are going to be a welcome. I think in addition, Route 9's pretty busy, but I think the LED sign, especially in front of this building, will be welcome so that people are able to turn their blinker on well in advance, should anybody be a little leery about where the driveway is. Once again, the Howell Township Senior Center, always looking for people to help, always looking for donations, so let's not forget our food pantry and our senior center. I will ask, though, the status of the stove, where are we on that one?
I'll look into it and I'll circulate an email tomorrow. I think there was some issue with it being on back order, so I will find out.
Yeah, huge issue. Obviously, COVID, once again, everything's COVID when we can't get something timely. And again, holidays at Oak Glen, not at Soldier Memorial because of the construction that will be ensuing. So we've talked a great deal about Soldier Memorial being like the new home base for our parties and different events, but this year it's Oak Glen. But
Is Saturday the 24th or Sunday the 25th?
Saturday.
Okay, because that's.
Saturday.
Okay,
Yeah, Saturday the 24th.
the 24th, okay.
And again, I commend that baseball team. I just can't believe the amount of awards that one team could have achieved when over a decade has gone by and teams haven't achieved it. So that speaks a great deal to their leadership and to their families for extending all of that time and effort and the commitment to those students. So that's a wonderful thing to see. So thank you. That's it.
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. I would like to follow up on the October meeting we had discussed, and Ms. Dixon brought up about it being a holiday. Have we come to a consensus on that since, have we?
No, right now, I mean, obviously, October 4th, we're not going to have the meeting.
Right.
So we just need to poll council as to what the pleasure is. Do we want to change it to a different day? Do we want to cancel it altogether? I'll circulate an email tomorrow and you can respond individually.
I mean, it's already July, obviously, and people
Right.
plan and school starts and people get busy around that time. I don't want that to fall to the wayside, so it
Right,
was on my.
agreed.
Are there any rules about having certain number of meetings in annually, a council, or no? Like, does it have to be once monthly or twice monthly?
No, we set our own schedule. I mean, obviously, more frequently is better because in a town this size, we have
No, sure.
business. But, if we have one a month for September, October, typically that's okay. We'll probably have one in December, and I think we have one in November. So we may just have a more crowded agenda than normal.
Well, it would be similar to what we do now.
Yeah. So, like I said, whatever council wants, I mean, we can sort of see where we are come September, what kind of workload's piling up, and then maybe it would be better to just have two in October and move the date of the October 4th meeting. So,
Yeah, if
we
you
can
put
gauge
that
by
out
the
in
August
straw poll
agenda.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get that, more discussion back open. Joe, I had discussed with Paul Novello and with Brian regarding the bus stops, how messy they look and what an eyesore they are. So I know that they were looking at new garbage cans and, all the advertising. Who's responsible for cleaning them, keeping them clean? I mean, I drive up and down Route 9 and it is an eyesore. And I know I had brought to your attention, because I know it was kind of lagging a little bit, but where are we with that, with the bus stops?
Especially the ones on West Farms Road.
And the one down by Lane's Mills down there by,
Well, I spoke with Mr. Novello, and we're looking at providing better garbage cans there and recycling cans, so that's in process. In terms of the upkeep of it, we had originally contracted for that. But because of the restrictions on advertising and things like that, it wasn't necessarily profitable for the person that we contracted with. So we're exploring having DPW do it. We're also exploring contracting with it, with a different entity for it. So we've got a couple things in the works.
How about maybe a shared service with another town that runs through the corridor of maybe Route 9, Lakewood or Freehold, or someone that has the same issues, obviously, of keeping the bus stops, I mean, I'm not saying we need a window washer, but,
No, I mean, it makes sense, depending on who what agency is going to take charge of it, whether it's us, Freehold, or somebody else going up Route 9, or, there's a lot of possibility for it.
Okay.
And it shouldn't be too terribly difficult.
Yeah,
so.
I just think it's definitely something we have to put on our radar. And with that said, also, how are we doing with our recycling? Are we back on schedule?
Well, ish.
Ish.
Yeah, I mean, recycling is sort of a perpetual issue. I mean, not only is the market terrible for it, but, they're having their own staffing issues. It looks like it's getting better. I don't see as many emails the past week or so. So I'm thinking that it's clearing up somewhat.
Yeah, as long as, and I think everybody will agree, as long as we communicate that to put the alerts out, which I know the clerk's office, you guys do a great job with that, but Facebook and all that stuff, just keeping people informed. As we're informed, they're more understanding when we get ahead of it than them have to come to us and complain that their garbage has been picked up in days or weeks or whatever. So we do a great job with that. If we can continue down that road, I think the community appreciates that.
Yeah, I agree. I'll specifically mention names, Bridget Kaczynski and Lori Dunwoody in recycling. As soon as an inquiry comes in, within a few minutes, they have a response. So very, very attentive to it.
Great, thank you. Also, there was an email that came from Lisa Dowd from the Shade Tree, that they have a lot of upcoming projects coming up, and they're in desperate need of volunteers. She did mention, I know people will wait until school starts to start getting volunteer service hours for confirmation or National Honor Society. If you know someone, or if anyone is watching this, don't wait too long, but they have a lot of good projects coming up with the Shade Tree, so reach out to Lisa Dowd or the manager, and or any of us, obviously, and get your volunteer hours in. They have a lot of good stuff coming up.
Yeah, agreed. Then there's more in the works, so she's pretty busy, and will probably be even busier before the fall.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So thank you, Lisa Dowd and the Shade Tree, for that. Matt did mention Ford Road, that acquiring of the 20 acres. Just to put it on the record, I know it's very early stages, but that's a great acquisition for us, obviously, 20 acres down on Ford Road. I'd like to start having a conversation of what the potential could be there for the township, preserving it or whatever we want to do there. But if you could just put that on your list of things to do, Joe, I'd like to start a conversation with the governing body on what we can do with that property down there.
Yeah, I agree. We just walked it today. There's a lot of potential. I mean, I envision that the residential structures will be demolished at some point. There's also a lot of outbuildings on there. One thing that we did acquire, and that I've sort of spoke with Pal a little bit about, is we have, one of the buildings was a daycare until very, very recently. So it's in good shape. It just needs a little bit of TLC. So before we do anything by way of demolition for that, obviously we'll have more communication with PAL, and we'll see if there's something that we can work out there.
Great. And speaking of demolition, does anybody want to give anybody an update on the demolition program there, Mr.? That's usually Councilman Bonavich's thing, but I'll.
No update at the moment. We have our list that we put together from before COVID. We're going to revisit that. Focus has a little bit been the master plan and the ordinances the last month or so. Really, this week, next week, I plan on going out with code enforcement, kind of doing a check on those old properties that are on the list and not done yet, and either going with those or finding a couple additional ones. We know we have a couple hot spots, one in Adelphia that we might take care of. But we're going to start the notice process. We have to have a hearing. There's a follow-up wait period. And then we're going to work with the construction official to either have the owners take action or we'll take action.
Great. And with that said, and this is just a little side note, we have a lot of new faces up here, and I have to tell you, I'm very proud to be sitting up here working alongside of you guys. I think everybody's been doing a great job. Zoning, attorneys, clerks. Allison, I know that, you're stepping, aside and letting Diane take over. Thank you for all the time that you put in for us when we needed you. Diane, good luck, and Joe, Matt, Caitlin, you guys have been doing a great job, and I like working with you guys, and I see we're getting a lot of business done for the people of Howell, so I, for one, thank you all.
Also, Mr. Howard, can you just go over the date for the next preservation meeting? Just want everyone to hear it. It's August 4th, I believe. Was I correct?
Hang on one second.
I just want to get that out there, so the Preservation Task Force is aware that this meeting will take place.
I might have to get back to you on that one.
Okay.
I think it's August 3rd. Wednesday? August 3rd? Does that sound right?
Is it usually a Wednesday?
Or is it usually a Thursday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
August 3rd, okay.
At 7:30.
Okay.
Conference room B.
And not to say that things haven't been happening, because Mr. Howard has been continuing to go forward with all of the work and meeting with the county. It's just unfortunate that the chair, Mr. Nansen, has been quite ill. So as he stepped aside for the duration, Mr. Howard has been taking over the immense role of continuing to ensure that that list is looked at frequently. The county knows we're still looking to preserve property. So thank you, Mr. Howard, and I look forward to the next meeting. Thank you.
Mr. Clark, I want to go back to what you were talking about for the bus, the bus stops. Would you give us an analysis on that? Like, for example, hiring more staff for DPW versus a contracted coming in to do the work versus a shared service, and what it would look like?
Sure, I can look into that.
Thanks.
I'm good, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. I think we are ready to adjourn, am I correct?
I will-
It is
Oh, sorry.
8:27. I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Before I say our next meeting is August 16th, 2022. Executive session is at 6 and regular is at 7. May I have a motion?
I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Get home safe.
Thank you.
Mayor and council, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you to the sidebar. The citizens of Howell Township are getting very useful and important information, and I'm glad you're just willing to give it out so that they know.
Barbara, we're going to get you a nameplate and put it over there for the next meeting, okay?
May I, roll call, please? Roll call?
All in favor?
Aye.